after hearing so much, it could be a little confusing as to what the resolution does or will do and what it doesn't do. I think, we tried so hard being part of CTRAN and the RTC, Regional Transportation Council, to be heard or to allow the people to be heard, and it was always denied. It was always maneuvered around, and the people never got to vote. And the I-5 bridge was about light rail. It wasn't about removing congestion. And we've known that since I was in the legislature in 1998. So I'm a little surprised. Do you have any point of clarification? Short?
Sure. The presentation on Friday consisted of three basic things. One was the design and the build, a plan for a specific bridge. Two was the big picture regional appropriateness of the options, the alternatives for our area, whether it be an East County bridge, a I-5 corridor expansion, or a West County new corridor. And the third thing that was covered was available financing. And they are looking to us and asking us, what do you want? One thing that's outstanding about this project, I'll call it a proposal because it gives us a lot of freedom. And the bridge building company, which linked up with the bridge design company, has pre-qualified 100% of the financing for this project. That's not an easy task to do. So you have hundreds of millions of dollars standing behind this project. That's an amazing proposal. We never got anywhere near this direction, this far, after spending $200 million on the previously failed project. So what we have here, we have people outside our community, across the United States, that seem to believe in our community, believe in our opportunity, believe in our future more than we do. And this is an opportunity for us to be able to somehow extend goodwill, forget our differences, see what we can do to move our community forward in a way that's simple, quick, price guaranteed, get it done in 5 years. All we need is some goodwill. All we need is some commitment and some belief, both for the local leaders as well as the state legislators. I look at the one question. Those that hold the purse strings say, how are you going to pay for this project? Well, I did some research, and I thank Senator Don Benton, who actually provided the answers yesterday, was because we've been told that our gas taxes, the revenue from gas taxes has been declining year after year after year, and so somehow we need to find an alternate way to pay for major transportation projects. It's not true. The numbers that are the actual revenue that has been flowing into our state from gas taxes have increased substantially. We're more than ever. So it's not true. We built all of the infrastructure. We're talking about the state taxes for Washington. Yes. Yes.
It should be public record.
If we can have some order, please. We've taken the time to politely listen to all the citizens. This is our time where we have order so that we can give some response. We built all of the infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, successfully year after year throughout all of our history, because we've selected not to use tolls in this state. Instead, we pay one of the higher gas taxes in the nation, like Oregon pays one of the higher gas taxes in the nation, to build their infrastructure. So we do have a funding mechanism to pay for it. The history tells us that. The I-205 demonstrates that. There is one exception, and that is the Tacoma Narrows Bridge was built using tolls. That's a bridge from one area of the state to another area of the state. It's not interstate. This allows us to be able to have an option, and no, we're not dictating anything, and no, it doesn't belong to any individual, certainly not me. But what we have here is, out of all the different choices, the experts in the field have come to us and say, let us offer you something that makes sense. I see this as an equivalent of Apple computer holding up an iPhone that says, you want it? Here's the specifications. We can provide it, we can deliver it for you. You decide whether or not, as a willing customer, you want it. We don't have any other proposals. We don't have any proposals for a West County corridor. There are no corridors over there to connect, so it's a very substantial cost, and it's a very substantial process to get through for the environmentally sensitive lands over there.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we refer the toll-free East County Bridge Resolution 2014-07-27 to the voters and see what they want.
Mr. Chairman, I have some comments to make before we get here. First off, the resolution that Commissioner Bador is pushing out here today, I never seen either one of these resolutions until they were laid up here in front of me this morning. I didn't even know what was in the resolutions, either one of them. I never seen them, never had a chance to read them to know what Commissioner Bador has made this motion to adopt this resolution. I heard a lot of concerns out here today by a lot of different people. I heard a lot of different concerns on Friday night from the folks. And to give the people a little bit of history, the gentleman, Richard, that got up here and made the comments about not having any control over the legislature in either Oregon or Washington. When the legislature, how this package got put together to start with for Columbia River Crossing, they went to all the partners first. They went to the cities, the counties, the ports, regional transportation councils. Everybody signed off on this proposal to rebuild the I-5 bridges. It wasn't something that was just brought in and said, here, vote on this. I don't even know for sure, even though he says the funding, Commissioner Bador says the funding is all there, how are the individuals that are funding this going to get their money back? Are they going to get it back from tolls? Are they going to get it back from bonds? Are they get it back from the taxpayers? I don't know that. I don't have any idea. But I can tell you, as somebody that started this whole process on I-5 back in 1995, 96, Tom got involved in it when the legislatures come down from Oregon and Washington got together at the Union Pacific Railroad Station over at Portland to discuss what we needed to do with the I-5 at that time. And this has been a great big 15 years, 16 years of public meetings, like Mr. Montague pointed out, all the different public meetings. There was no excuse for anybody not to be able to get the information about CRC, go to the meetings and that. It's been the newspapers. If you go back and look at the Columbian, the Oregonian, television, radio, whatever, you'll find out there's probably been more time spent and more paper print on that I-5 bridges than any other situation in the state of Oregon or Washington. But I can tell you that what I do know is that the legislators in the state of Washington had the opportunity, and they keep saying the Washington state legislators turned it down. The Washington state legislator didn't turn it down. The House voted for the package with $450 million to do their share to build the Columbia River Crossing. The state Senate, which was a coalition made up that had Rodney Tom, which I know very well. I'm the guy that wrote the package for the 9.5-cent gasoline tax package, along with Jim Horn, a Republican, that put that out, and we got that passed in the legislature, both from the Republicans and Democrats. We got the 5-cent package. For the last 16 years, none of the projects in the state of Washington would be built at all without that 14.5 cents. And I can tell you that Senator Benton has never voted in favor of any gasoline tax fund, and I won't point over here to my fellow commissioner whether he did or didn't, but I know that he didn't. But I also know that Senator Benton jumped in bed with Tim Hymans to repeal the 9.5-cent gasoline tax. They made a deal, Richard, they made a deal that unless Senator Benton, unless Senator Rivers went along with it, there would be no money for Columbia River Crossing. They wouldn't even allow it to come up for a vote at the legislature when they knew that it would pass. Not even an up or down yes vote. So it didn't pass in the Senate. It did pass in the House. It did pass in the state of Oregon by the full legislature. The governor was ready to sign it. Jay Inslee was ready to sign it over here. But it did not get through the Senate because when they talk about votes, Tom and Dave talks about the people voting all the time. They did not even get a chance to vote in the legislature. The people that you sent up to the legislature to get a chance to vote on it.
Okay, can we come back to our subject here?
Right. So anyway, I can tell you how this whole process has worked over the last 15, 16, 17 years since I've been involved in it as a commissioner, not as a commissioner. But there's been a lot of time spent and a lot of money. And if I'm going to vote in something like this, I have to be able to have it, read it, and know what's going on with the thing before I'd even put my name in this thing. And I've already told Tom and that and the public that I'm not in favor of the East County Bridge. The problem is I-5. The problem is Columbia River Crossing. And that's where all the problem is. Every morning that I drive down here to the commission, again this morning was no different. The traffic was back onto SR 500. It was backed up I-5. At nighttime, yesterday it took me an hour and a half when I went over to see my son. It's in the hospital over at University of Oregon Medical. It took me an hour and a half to get back to Vancouver. So, I mean, it's ridiculous because we're not doing what we should do. The bridges are dangerous. They're too narrow. They don't have any pull-offs on those bridges. A good earthquake hit the bridge. There's going to be a whole lot of people get hurt. But like I say, I'd never seen these items until they were laid on in front of me here today. And I just think that it's not fair. I think FIG probably did the best job that they could do in their proposal that they made Friday night. They got some good contractors that are involved with that. I also know that those same contractors, if the I-5 crossing would have went through, those same contractors would have been bidding to do the I-5 bridge. The same group of people would have been out there trying to get their share of the I-5 bridges. So, you know, I got a little problem with that when they say, you know, they want the I-5 bridges, but they also want the East County bridges at the same time. It's about money with all these companies and that. And Linda did, I thought, an excellent job. But again, in order for us to get this thing lined up, we need to have all the partners, the same partners that signed off on the Columbia River Crossing. You need those same people. Plus now you need Camas, you need Washougal, you need the Port of Camas, Port of Washougal to also sign off as partners in this. The city of Vancouver controls the whole thing. If the city says no, it ain't going to happen. And I told David, 2 months ago, that he had to go up to the legislature and get a member of the House, a member of the Senate, both in Oregon and Washington, to propose legislation in those two states in order to declare that area up there a state highway system. And without that, that's not going to happen. So anyway, that's my comments. And I'm not going to sign this. Not going to sign it.
And since you brought up the 1998 delegation about the I-5,
yeah. So anyway,
when we came out of there in 1998, the corridor was at capacity. Why would you build the same 3 lanes across the bridge that's already gridlocked from the Rose Quarter? We were tasked to find another corridor, and we didn't do that because light rail is what it was all about. It wasn't about the bridge. I didn't interrupt you, Ed. It wasn't about the bridge. It wasn't about removing congestion. It was about light rail. And Oregon even told you that if you take off light rail, we're not interested in replacing the I-5 bridge. So coming back to our subject
Tom,
that we have here.
That the light rail wasn't even in it. When I was appointed co-chair with Henry Hewitt of the Oregon Department of Transportation chairman to be co-chair of the I-5 partnership, light rail wasn't even part of the consideration. We were given a 10-mile segment of highway from I-84 through the Rose Garden out to where 205 and I-5 comes together. When the city of Portland started thinking that we were going to tear down the Memorial Coliseum, which is a Veterans Coliseum, Vera Katz, that sat on the committee along with Royce Pollard, started raising hell, said, no, that's not going to happen. So they shrunk us down from 10 miles to 5 miles. The light rail come on later. It had nothing to do with light rail, and I can go back and show you the
Ed, you're
printed
not paying
material.
attention to the Oregon Supreme Court that made the ruling
Yes.
after they were being sued.
Yes.
That was all about light rail and not the bridge. The bridge was added as a carrot to get you to vote for the project.
But anyway,
Now, before us,
but I can't vote on
I
anything
second
that
the
I haven't
motion.
read.
Okay, and this comes with the understanding that both of these resolutions, the prosecuting attorney, of course, has the authority to be able to ensure that whatever minor improvements that they feel necessary, of course, they're always authorized to do that.
And how much is it going to cost to put this on the ballot, Tom?
it won't cost very much because this is the large year, and what you do, you always share in the cost of putting it on the ballot.
No, I didn't
And we
say
have
that.
all
How
the
much is it
all
gonna
the
cost
state
the county?
representative races. We have all the local races and whatnot. So it'd be very minuscule as to putting on there. And it's really important that we hear from the people who we represent, and that's what it does. So, any other comment?
No?
All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve resolution number 2014-07-28 to place the toll-free East County Bridge Resolution 2014-07-27 on the ballot.
Now, the difference between the two, one is the resolution, which we do legally, and the other is a legal movement that you do to place it on the ballot.
Yes.
And I want to be recorded as no on both of them.
And for the comment,
Are you seconding that motion?
I second the motion.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
Ed? Opposed?
Nope.
No.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.